Hello painters, it's Debbie from acrylicpouring.com, back today to do a technique that I've done only once before and haven't done for such a very long time. Oh, it's the police helicopter. If you can hear something in the background, the police helicopter is buzzing around outside. They're obviously looking for drug smugglers or something today, I don't know. So here, if I can get them in frame, this was a jewels painting that I did by, well, I don't know. We had a recent poll in the group, what should we call the technique? Apparently the official name for it is monoprinting, but monoprinting to me doesn't seem very exotic enough. I think acrylic pouring terms deserve to be more colourful and exciting. So we've decided that this one should be called the butterfly effect. And basically it's created by making a copy of one painting by putting it on top of the other, opening them up and seeing what you get. And the good thing with this is whichever way you turn your paintings, they're always more or less a match to the other painting. So I think it looks cool, and I've only done this one set and I'd like to do some more. So I've got two smaller canvases today. I thought I'd do it with a rectangle because it's going to give me a different shape depending on which way I turn them. And I've got some nice pinks and purples. So excuse me again when I can't pronounce the colours very well. This one should be easy. This is a Liquitex Basics Prism Violet. And then this one again, Liquitex Basics, here we go, Quinacridone Magenta. It's a nice reddy kind of colour. And then Pebeo Studio Acrylics. This is their Dynacolours, the Iridescent Violet Blue, number 356. And I thought those kind of went well together. And I'm going to put some black and white with them. So when I did it before, I had, you know, all the colours and it was kind of crazy. This time I'm trying to do something a little bit more subdued. So I've mixed all of my colours with my usual recipe. The paints are mixed 2 parts paint to 1 part of the Floetrol, and then I have a black and white in my squeezy bottles, which are mixed with the treadmill belt lubricant. And today, for a little bit of a change in my little pots for these the pink and purple colours, I've mixed those with this one, the KY Truefield Personal Lubricant, just for a bit of a change today. And as you can see, I've also gone around the edges and painted the sides of the canvas black in advance, because when you do this, it's not quite so easy to finish the sides of the painting. So we will see what happens. And I think what I'm going to do is actually line, so let's take one out of the way because one will be our copy. So I'm just going to work on this one. Ugh, I'm already sticky. And I'm going to line the canvas first of all with some black, because I thought that would look kind of nice, and I didn't do anything like that the last time. So let's see what effect that has, and then that of course will dribble over the sides as we work. And I'm going to do, this is my white, try and kind of create a line kind of going up and out like that to give the painting maybe a little bit of structure before I begin, and then just pop my colours on here and we will see what happens. I think I can zoom you in a little bit to get a better view. There we go. So now I'm just going to layer out these colours on here in and around the black and white that I've already got for the start of my painting. And rather than pour, I'm just going to use my spoon and kind of my stick rather, and kind of spread them out a little bit, because I want them to be quite thick, because as I'm smushing I'm going to put the other canvas on top, and there needs to basically be enough paint in each area for us to create 2 paintings from it. So it needs to be on there fairly thick. Whoops. Put that down in the corner, and where else? A little bit up in the top corner. I haven't really got a plan other than to create a little bit of structure with the white paint. And now I'm going to try and outline some of these colours with the black, because I thought that might give us an interesting effect when we smush the 2 lots of colours together. And we will see what happens as I carry on. So I'm going to just go ahead and add a few more colours. I'll speed it up a little bit so you can save a little bit of time, because I know you've got a lot of pouring videos that you want to watch. And I'll be back in a minute for the butterfly effect. Okay, so I have my colours laid out and it looks kind of interesting. I think with the black highlighting the edges and the shapes of all the colours, it kind of looks a little bit like stained glass. Now here in the centre where I have the white, I've obviously not put the black outlining the white because I didn't want it to turn a kind of a grey colour. So we will see what happens when I smush them together and whether it looks any good or not. So I need to put this one canvas directly on top of this other one. And now I'm just going to gently push down. I don't want to actually kind of move them around too much. I don't want to swipe the paints if I can. I want to try and keep a little bit of the design that I have. So I'm just going to kind of just push them down, push around the edges, and as I do so, some of the paint is dribbling out a little bit onto that other canvas. So once I've got that done, I'm now going to quickly flip over so that as I smush it some more, the paint will now drip over the sides of the other canvas and make it look kind of like a pear. So I'm just gently rubbing my finger over the canvas here, making sure we've got good contact between the two, and then pushing down all around the sides. And again, I can see I've got bits of paint dribbling out now, and it looks really nice. Really, really nice. Okay, so I'm just going to go and clean my hands up and then we'll come back and take a look for the big reveal. Okay, I'm back. So let's see how it goes. I'm thinking I'm going to turn these two around so I can get them better in view of the camera and just zoom out a little bit. So now when I open these up, we should be able to get a good view of both at the same time. I'll try and drag one over this side and then I'm going to lift. Now I remember when I did this before, they were actually quite difficult to separate because the paint kind of forms like a suction. So I'm going to make sure to hold on to this bottom one somehow and then lift the top one up and over without trying to kind of swipe it. So I just get a clean lift. 1, 2, 3. Oh! Okay, well that's interesting, because this time I've got quite a different effect to what I had before. There's actually a little bit of a blank area of paint right there in the centre where it's a bit thin, and on this one it's actually got quite a thick bit. So I think I can afford to put these back together if I do it very carefully and just make sure that this area here is going to have a bit more paint. So it looks good so far, but let's see what can happen if I try and redo it. This is the one with the least paint, so I'm going to lift that one over. And I'm going to turn them back up the other way. My fingers are all painty again now, and just see if I can get the paint a bit more equal. I didn't have that problem the first time. The paint was equally distributed, but on this one definitely there was a little bit more on one and a bit less on the other. So let's go again. See, it was pointless me wiping up my hands, they're a right mess. So let me try again and see what we get this time. Yeah, same again. I'm not sure what's going on today, but maybe maybe the surface of this canvas is resisting a little bit. You know, sometimes with the cheap canvases, they seem you put the paint on and it kind of draws away, and it's not getting as good coverage as I was hoping for, certainly. There's a little patch here and here, little patch here, but I think I can touch those up a little bit with a brush. So I'm just going to get my brush and just gently draw the little bits of paint into the area where it's a little bit thinner, and then I think we'll have a good result. And there we are, it's done. Just a little touch here and there with the paintbrush was enough to just fill in the bits that are a little bit thin. So let me bring you down now and we'll have a look at some of the lovely details that this butterfly effect painting has created. So there we go, it's looking pretty cool, I think. I do like the colours. They do appeal to me, very nice. And the way the paint comes together, it makes some really interesting shapes and cells and things too. If you look here, you see where the cells just kind of come not from anything other than putting the two colours together, putting the canvases together and then pulling them apart, and that action helps to create the cells in this. And it's interesting that I had quite a big section of white running through the middle, but a lot of that's disappeared, I guess because there was so much paint. It's got overtaken a little bit by some of the other colours, but certainly it's got some really nice effects, really rich and dark, kind of exotic looking. These colours look really nice together, I think, especially with the black. So I'm very, very happy with this. Fingers crossed that it's obviously going to dry something similar. But I think we're onto a winner with this one. Looks really nice. So as usual, I'm going to dry these up now, varnish them, and show you what it looks like when it's finished. So here they are done. I've got one layer of varnish on them so far, so I need to do a few more yet to make them nice and smooth and glossy, but I think you can see that they look pretty cool. Now obviously the colours have dried a little bit darker than when they were wet, and there's one paint in particular, the darker purple colour. You can just see here in the light, it's gone very, very dark. I know it's very transparent, but using it with the black made it go really, really dark, and you can still see it there, although more so than you can in the camera. But I think these paints, the very transparent ones, they really benefit being used with more white, I think, than they do with black. So if I were to use the colours again, I'd definitely use less black, more white, I think. However, I really like how they've come out, and of course exactly the same as it was when I did the first set. Whichever way you turn them, you're always going to end up with a matching set in the middle here. So whichever way up you decide to have them, you've got yourself a matching set of two paintings. So I really like this technique, the butterfly technique as I'm calling it, but no doubt you'll have a name for it yourself. One interesting thing that I just wanted to point out, this iridescent pink, this is a very nice pink blue colour like this, and what was interesting is where it's over just the canvas or over white, it's pink, and where it's gone over the black, you can just see is where the real iridescent blue comes out. And here where the veins are over the black here, this is where it's gone very blue as well. So this is an interesting thing that I didn't expect. You can see more examples of it here. This is the pink, and where it's gone over the black, it's made like a shimmery electric blue colour. So that's quite interesting. I may have to think of ways that I could use that in the future. Maybe paint some kind of a design on the canvas in black and then pour over the top with the iridescent paints, and it would change colour depending on what was underneath. So I think that is pretty interesting. So there we go. Which way up do you prefer them? I kind of like them that way, maybe, I think, because the white looks really, really good together, but whichever way, they make a lovely set. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you over at acrylicpouring.com very soon.